Is the bear market over? Are the bulls back in charge? Has the primary trend flipped? All of that and more in episode number 54 of the Traders Podcast. What's up, everybody? Jeremy Ritz here. Courage pays better than fear trading. Episode 54 of the Traders Podcast. And the topic today is, has the market flipped from bearish to bullish? We've had a significant win streak taking place right now. 8 days in a row yesterday that the market finished up. As of right now, it looks like it's going to be 9 days in a row, but stranger things have happened. The technical definition of a bear market is whenever you drop below 20% from all-time highs. We did that in the market. When we look at the broader markets, the SPX, in order to get out of that trend, you have to break above 20% from those lows. We were down 21%. We have to come up 20%. And so what I wanted to look at today is just the past bear market in 2022 and some of the relief rallies we had. Is the trend changing, or is this just simply a relief rally, a bear market rally, which we haven't had one since we've dropped down? And the other question we have to ask is, has anything really fundamentally changed with these tariffs? And the answer is no, there's no deals done yet. So there's still a lot of uncertainty, but for whatever reason, things are rallying. We're going to talk about why that is, but also look at the charts to understand what is going on. So let's jump in. All right, guys, here's a nice clean chart of the SPX, the S&P 500 index. And you can see we have three moving averages on here. These are my three favorites that I use, the 50, the 100, and the 200. You could see the key over here. The 50 is going to be blue, the 100 is green, and that 200 is going to be orange. And just measuring this out for all of you, you could see from all-time highs, we dropped 21%. And in that big move down, we really didn't have a relief rally. We had this big, massive candle off of the 90-day pause, the tariff pause from Trump. And we're just now finally starting to get a push higher. We're getting that bear market rally, that bit of relief. One of the questions that I want to talk about today is, have we changed the primary trend? Have we flipped back into a bull market? The answer from a technical perspective is no. In order for that to happen, we would have to come 20% off of the lows, which would bring us up over that 100 simple moving average. And the question is, are we out of the bear market? And in order for that to happen from a technical perspective, by the technical definition, we would have to move up 20% off of the lows. We measure out from that low up 20%. That would take us up to 5,800. So we would have to get above 5,800 in order for us to reclaim bull market trend. Now, I want you to take a very close look at something. There is a significant moving average right at that 5,800 mark. It's actually 5796.95. This 100 simple moving average, which is very strong, that's going to be significant resistance for it to break through, because it can't just be 20%. It has to get higher than that. So it's going to have to contend with that 100 in order to regain a bullish trend. Take note that right below that, we also have the 200 simple moving average. These are very strong, powerful moving averages that are above it for it to regain that bullish trend. This is not going to be an easy road for the bulls, even though they've had success. But here's the question. We have bounced, and let's measure this out, 17.61%. So the question that we need to ask ourselves, is this an actual bear market rally or the beginning of a change in the trend? So what I want to do is look at the 2022 bear market and see the bounces that came in, so we can try to make an educated decision about whether or not this is a rally or a change in the trend. Here we go. This is January 2022. This is when the decline started. and we had an initial drop of 12%. A little bounce came in. Then it dropped about 14%, and another bounce came in. But I want to measure this out to see when it hit 20%, so we can get some similar comparison to where we are now. So here's 20.9%. It hit that price in May of 2022. Then it got a 9% bounce. All right. So when it dropped 20%, it got a 9% bounce. All right. That is well below the bounce that has come in this current bear market. Now, how much did it bounce on these early relief pushes higher? We got an 8.885% bounce. On this next bounce, let's see here, 12.5%. So what we could see is those first three bounces that came in the bear market of 2022, none went beyond 12%. We are currently at a 17% bounce right now. So we could draw the conclusion that this might be a little bit more than a relief rally. Let's check this big rally from June into August. That was a 24% decline from the highs, and that bottom came in June. This did clear most of the moving averages, but notice it got rejected off of that 200 before coming down and making the ultimate lows. So it did have an 18% rally from June into August, and then the final descent came into play. The drop into bear market territory again was 24%. All right. So what we're seeing, and again, we're not at 18% like we saw here on this push higher, but we are at 17%. Is this a bear market rally, or is this a changing of the trend? I wanted to compare those for you and set the discussion up for us to talk about what potentially is going to happen from here. So it's always beneficial to look at the charts, look at history, look at what has happened in the past, and it's a good exercise to really get a feel for where we are. And what we were able to see, at least from 2022, now we could go further back in time, but I just wanted to focus on the recent bear market. We didn't have any push higher than 12% in those first three relief rallies. Now, if we compare this first rally that we're getting, this is the first true rally in this bear market, we're at 17%. And we didn't see that type of a push higher in 2022 until there was a 24% drop. It went up 18% and rejected off of that 200 before coming down and making its ultimate lows in October of 2022. So there's not a ton of data here. We would need to look further, but if we're just using 2022 as a comparison, what is interesting is that we are getting a 17+% bounce right now off of that 21% decrease. So is that evidence? Is that support that says that maybe this was not really a true bear market? By definition, by the technicals being below 20%, it's going to end rather quickly. Now, it's not going to be the shortest bear market on record. That would go to COVID. COVID owns that title. But if it can break above that 100 and get above that 20%, then we can talk about a change in the trend. Has anything fundamentally changed in the market? Has anything fundamentally changed in terms of the uncertainty? Not really. We don't have any trade deals done with any of the countries unless the market has already priced in maximum volatility for the uncertainty, or if there's information coming in behind the scenes with these major investors, hedge funds who know that deals are imminent. We know that India apparently is close to reaching a deal with the US. And we heard that China says the door is wide open to negotiate deals. So maybe this uncertainty is about to go away. And you hear a lot of discussion too that this crash that we had from February into April, that it was man-made. It was caused by these tariffs. What was imposed as a result of these tariffs can be taken away as deals are made. Now, the one last thing I want to show you on the chart is back from 2018 when Trump was in office for the first time and when tariff news hit and what happened there. So check this out. This was the last time that Trump was in office and there was major tariff news. And you could see what happened here. If we go from the highs at that point and how far it dropped, it did drop 20%. It hit bear market territory. But you could see what followed there was a full recovery, and it pushed out, and it did have some corrections along the way before it got into COVID. Maybe this is what we're looking at. Maybe it's not a true bear market by the technical definition, but in terms of sentiment and what's going to come out of this, maybe we are destined to get above that 100 and start pushing back up into all-time highs. There is precedent for this in 2018 and then into 2019 it started pushing out. Keep that in mind as a comparison as we're moving forward. Are we going to change the trend? Are we going to break and close above that 100? Was this a very short week bear market, or is this just a bear market rally and we are about to come down hard and drop even lower? While you're at it, subscribe and check out my latest video previewing the month of May and NVIDIA earnings on May 28th. And I will see you back here next week for episode number 55 of the Traders Podcast. Make it a great day.